What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again, and welcome to yet another unboxing video. That's right, this is another knife from Zelrick. This is the WE Knives 709A. But if you're keeping up on Zelrick's channel, you'll know that some WE Knives are actually getting names now, which is completely out of the norm for them. The name of this one is going to be the Thraex. Now, if you're looking at the name and the title and thinking that doesn't really match, that's what I thought. But this word is of Roman origin, and I just didn't really know how to pronounce it. So I'm glad Zelrick showed us how to pronounce that. I did a quick Google search on it because I'm completely unfamiliar with the term, and all I know is it pertains to a certain type of Roman gladiator. I don't know if that's based on his weapon system, how he fights, what he wears, where he's from, but it's a cool name, and I think it's fairly fitting for this knife. So let's take a look at this thing. We're of course going to avoid specifications, everything. I just want to keep this video fairly short, give you guys my raw initial impression of the knife. So you can see here the box does have their social media. This little sticker here shows what it's made out of and the color and the model, of course, and then that iridescent WE logo. So let's get this thing open. Have the WE knife pouch that we're familiar with, as well as the business card and a kind of gold colored microfiber cleaning cloth. So pretty cool. And then of course your proprietary tool to take down the knife, because it does have proprietary hardware. And let's look at the knife itself. Comes in a plastic sleeve. There it is. So you guys probably immediately notice that this is one of their G10 and D2 tool steel models. The previous one that we looked at, the 614, is a titanium frame lock with M390 steel, a much higher end version, if you will, within the WE knife lineup. I believe this is going to come in around the $100 price point, just like some of its other counterparts that are made out of similar materials. But this knife is pretty freaking sweet. So let's hit some of the features that I like, and of course what this thing's made out of. If I can actually get a good flick on it. This is D2 steel, just like I mentioned. Some super hard stuff, holds an edge very well, but we all know D2 is fairly, fairly easy to corrode. It's of course if you don't take care of it, but this does have a nice coating on it. Now it's not just a black DLC, it looks like it has a slight stonewash, and it almost looks slate gray. It's a really, really dark gray, but yeah, it is a black coating that's gonna help prevent rust and corrosion on that D2 steel, and I think it looks pretty sweet. You can see here we have a Tonto blade, and it's kind of a hybrid between a traditional style Tonto and an American Tonto, but got a nice beefy tip. Man, that's really not focusing on what I wanted. There it is. Nice beefy tip, a lot of strength up here, and then of course a nice flat portion. This is super sharp. Good looking fuller there as well. I love these little cutouts towards the top of the blade. I don't know why, I just think they look cool. We're just there for aesthetic flair, of course, but a good looking blade. We'll definitely see how functional this is, because like the 614, I get to test this one and show you guys. So I'm excited to test this one because this is going to be much different. This is a liner lock versus the 614, which was a frame lock. If you guys haven't got in on the giveaway on this one, definitely do that. It's the previous video before this one. This is an inset liner lock. You can see here green G10 handle scales, and they look textured, but they're not. Very smooth. The ergonomics are great. I love the little thumb ramp they give here, and I love this divot, because I can immediately tell you that's going to be awesome if you're going to be opening the box, doing something with a draw cut, as well as if you need to choke up a little bit with your thumb. That is very thoughtful that they put that in there. But the thumb ramp is nice. The jimping on it's decent. It's not super grabby though. So if you guys like the super aggressive jimping, that's not going to be this one. But the action is my favorite part of this knife by far. I'm assuming that this is ceramic bearings and a ceramic ball detent. In fact, I'm almost entirely certain. And the action is awesome. Completely drop shut. For the price point that I think this one's coming in at, that's just awesome. The action on this is amazing, no doubt about it. The liner lock is super strong. There's no blade play or anything, but I think you guys know that I prefer frame locks, just for the ability to, well, what am I carrying today? The 0456, to actually physically press that lock bar into place and keep it in place. in case you're doing some harder cutting. Now, I honestly don't think I do anything hard enough with my folding knives to break or do anything bad to a liner lock rather than make it accidentally engage, which is kind of a common issue with liner locks, but we'll see how this one holds up. You can see here pretty early lockup, but I think these are steel liner lock that is inset into the G10, and then your your hardware, I believe, is titanium. Got a nice clip here, very similar to the one on the 614, at least similar in size and shape. This one flows with this design a little bit better, flows with that straight fuller. I like it. Seems to have some good distance, and it's not quite as springy, but I think it'll do. I threw it in the pocket just once or twice a minute ago, and it seemed to perform just fine. An interesting looking backspacer here. I believe it's also made out of titanium. And then your star hardware. An appropriately sized lanyard hole. It's not too bad. But the ergonomics, I'm really digging right now. The reverse grip's just fine. There's a whole lot of handle because this is one beefy knife. Again, I'm not going to throw the specs at you, but I believe this is nearly a 4-inch blade. So big sizable knife with some gold anodized hardware, green G10 handle scales, and a black coated D2 blade. All in all, I think it looks pretty good. Now, I do have one gripe with this knife already, and that is the positioning of the flipper tab. Something just doesn't seem quite right. Now, I mentioned I love the action. You can see how smooth that thing is, but the flipper tab seems to be positioned a little low in this direction. If I hold this up, you can see that on the 0456, the flipper tab is directly adjacent. It's directly to the right of the pivot. It's a really good flipper. I think we all know that. But this WE Knife 709 or Thraex, see that flipper tab seems to be positioned down a little bit, and the flipper tab is fairly small. Now, it does have some jimping on it, and I think it prefers a light switch, but you can give it kind of a push button. It's just a little bit slower. Don't get me wrong, the flipper works. I'm just not in love with how maybe the shape, the size, or the positioning of it. But I guess we'll see how that goes with a little bit of carry and a little bit of use on this thing, because I will definitely tell you guys as I use it. But overall, I like the color of the G10. It's kind of a mix between an OD green and something a little bit lighter. But the color scheme seems to flow pretty well. And honestly, I still love Tonto blades. Not on every knife, but I think this is a pretty good looking one. It's just, it looks aggressive. So let me know what you guys think of this model. Let me know if you think of the name too. I think the name's pretty cool, coming from, you know, kind of a Roman origin and stuff, dealing with gladiators. The Thraex is a good name. So thanks, Zel, for letting me take a look at this one. I'm excited to get some testing going. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, have fun with your knives.